Morning, legends. You are going to be seeing a few changes on the channel over this next coming week. Firstly, here, going to be doing a bit of a recap here, giving my general thoughts on the screen. So if you do need to skip through to certain players, certain teams, this is how it's going to go through there. I've just got my notes there on the screen, so you can pop in and check that out at any time. All of the private group crew has already got these notes, so they get those early thoughts there, and they get to have them in front of them rather than coming back to the video. So yeah, Roosters, Doggies there to finish. So we'll go through all that and reference back there to the fantasy site here. Sunday night, you're going to get a Jamie and Nikki collab from here on out. So post games on Sunday, that's what you can look forward to on that one. Just looking to change up the how things have been done. I've done the same thing for a few years now, and I'm thinking looks like the people want a bit of a change, and I think I'm ready to as well. So we'll get the PowerPoints going, we'll get the Word docs going, and help you guys out on that one. So if you are interested in that, let me know. I'm keen to get that going. Now with the Eels and the Knights there, the theme of the night overall was just low fantasy scores and injuries. Unfortunately, it looks like a few of our relevant players, a few of my relevant players, have copped something in those games last night. So I hope you didn't have as many players as myself, because if you were able to avoid it, then I think you all get the right players, like a Marky Mark or a Katonga or something like that, KPP, even with the sin bin, then you came out of it okay. And now for the Eels side of things, they are likely to miss Moses and Lomax next week. I think Moses played well enough, but Lomax was exceptional and playing exactly like we saw him last year. At his best, he's an aerial threat, similar to what we see with Karaz. And you've got to try and find a way for both. And the problem is you can't there. And so I think they'll miss both those guys next week. And it does make a few of our players, like Iongi, a little bit tough to potentially look to hold on to in our sides, given Iongi, I don't think he's a focal point, unfortunately. Very hit and miss with scoring as well. Only had the couple of good ones. And I think it's hard to rely on him next week, but we may have to. He picked up a 23 in this one, which included 5 tackle breaks. I think he ran the footy really well. Just wasn't able to. There was one that he dummied and went past one guy and almost got the line break. So just things like that need to come off. And what was really sad about this game for me with him, had to start him straight up. I was waiting on information around how Lomax was going to go, but I couldn't make that decision. Had to sell Greg Marzu in that one. So it was like, to be fair, it was going to be him playing straight up, or it was going to be Karaz or Teddy, who didn't score incredibly well anyway. So that's the worry with Yongi. Maybe he's a pretty easy upgrade target if you do have cash available next week. Like, I know I'm sitting with over 300k. Well, we'll do once I've finalized my 3 trades, and he's definitely someone on the list that could be sold. And now we want to talk about the positive of the night. It was Kidioni Katonga. He's really pushing for offloads at the moment. I think he's been strong in the defense the last couple of weeks. So I think it's been a massive change for him those last 2 weeks. After the couple before were pretty poor. Now he's actually getting the ball, which, again, those few weeks before, they weren't getting it out to him. And as I said, the great thing is he's looking to throw the offload out the back, or even some of the occasions, it's actually fairly good attack, not just a dirty offload out the back. So it was one, I think, that was just a bit, he's just looking to push it out. But last week he had 2 really good offloads. So I think he's building confidence in that part of his game, and to have 36 tackles, 1 miss, to go along with actually getting over 100 meters, it's been awesome viewing and a shining light in my side, definitely. And now Riley Smith, for him, unsure if he's got a calf complaint or if he's dealing with a knock or some cramps, but he did run off. So I don't know if you've got a bit of a calf issue. I'm not sure if you're running off pretty hard or not. But for Riley in this game, we've seen him tackle his butt off and didn't have to as much in this game. But for him to have 38 tackles, no misses, very, very impressive. And a 38 you take, like, in a week like this, where I came into it with 5 injuries, can only make 3 trades. That means you're leaving a couple of big dogs on the bench. You're going to have to rely on some of these guys. And that was, the disappointing thing for my team. But 2, it just is what it is. Unfortunately, you just had to cop it. And 38, pretty solid score. And then Williams and Lomax. Williams with those steps, holy step, as I said there. Best on ground, those two, clear as day. Now the Knights, disgusting. They have a lot of relevant players though. Unfortunately for Lucas, it looks like a potential subluxation of the shoulder. And that's not what we want to see. If he's out for anywhere between 1 to 3 weeks, which is generally the thought there, then that's tough. Tough to swallow there. Tough pill to swallow. The team is absolutely terrible right now. And what's going on with Adam O'Brien, coach? Like, what in the world was that press conference? Watching even just that little snippet afterwards, the game there. The bloke just seems like he's done. He talks so slow. I was reading the comments on Fox League popped it up, and I was like, yeah, agreed. How do you expect to play for that guy when there's zero energy? It's like this. So if you were listening to me this way, you'd probably turn it off in 3, 2. All right, you can come back. Like, if you talk that way, how could you play for that? And I get he's upset. I get the team's in a bad way, but you got to... And he's just like, oh, it's partly on me, partly on everyone. Like, God. If that contract stuff's serious and have to do a massive payout, why do they pay him so much in the first place? Is my question. Like, how is he on that much money? Or is it just like a 8-year deal and, $500K a year or something? Wild. Anyway, Ponga. A little bit more life in him. At least it wasn't a 20. He's likely Origin. But, do you even hold him at 43 there? Did have 2 line breaks, 6 tackle breaks was good. Actually giving him errors now for those kicks out. I thought they weren't giving those ones. Maybe because it was out in the full. I don't know. But then, he had a couple of other bits and pieces there. A little knock on in goal, which, was only going to be a dropout. They gave him one of those. He did run for 250 meters. So that was really good and had the 1 goal. But no other attacking stats. So 43 with the 10 negatives. Better. But, you're getting him where he's priced at now, basically. And Lucas there, I just feel like he did what he could in the centres in a bad team. I'm hoping the injury is okay. He played most of the game with it, and we want him next week. And that's probably the only positive side of it, was that he did play, I think, from minute 14 when the Lomax try. He dived for it and the old outstretched arm landing on it, and it didn't look good. So 3 missed tackles for him, but again, him, Fletcher Sharp, we'll speak about now as well, dealing with guys like Lomax and Penasini on that right-hand side. Mitch Moses as well. So really, really strong ball runners there, which caused some issues. But he did what he could, basically, in this one, Lucas, and he did end up with a couple of turnover tackles, which was helpful to the cause, definitely. Now, Fletcher Sharp, big thing with him was the missed tackles, unfortunately. 5 missed tackles and not running the footy, so only 44. Did have a turnover tackle, did have an offload, so to still only get 31 is pretty gross there on that one. One player I did miss out on the in here as well was Saifidi, given the injury, calf injury, sadly, and 31 points. So for Saifidi, not a fun one at all. In this one, he actually was going to play really, really big minutes, to be honest there. I think he was on 40 odd minutes with like 15, 20 to go, and I didn't see him out there anymore, and then found out later that it was a calf issue. So 26 tackles, did have an error, did have a couple of misses, but still running the footy good. And there was all this chat about him potentially making Origin, and does that actually stick now? Or sorry, that was the chat. Was that actually correct? And now who do they select instead? Do they go back to Terrell May? Do they go to Gerbo? Do they go to plenty of other forwards that we do have out there as well? So that was the tough one with Saifidi. I wanted to shout out KPP for how good his game was, and then Dane Gagai 35. Just in a team where you're sucking and 6 missed tackles, 2 errors will hurt. But Kaipi's Paul, he was spectacular in this one for 58 with the try saver. Yeah, they give that, like, just because it was a broken... Those ones are weird. It's like it was a broken line. So then, he tackles him like 3 meters, 4 meters before the line, 1-on-1, and it's a good tackle. But if the line wasn't broken, it'd just be a normal defensive effort. Those ones are weird. But 54 in base there, had 2 turnover tackles and the try saver. Spectacular from him. And you do see another few notable scores, and people are looking at Okar. He continues to deliver. Brody Jones got 48 and 35, and Williams and Moses were really good in this one as well. Picking up a try assist and a try for Moses. Now, Doggies and the Roosters, there's plenty to chat about around the Roosters. Let's go through the doggies first, just to get that one done and dusted. So these comeback wins are just stacking up. Yeah, they have all the belief in the world, and they do have the firepower to get it going. So did want to focus on the Karaz 30 down date and end up at 44. Okay, it's 43 on the app. But with that, did get a line break, a few tackle breaks in that one, but he quickly went from 2 to 8 tackle breaks, and that's what he ended up losing there, was 3 tackle breaks, and really went missing in that last 20 minutes. Just they didn't go to him, they didn't go down that side for him defensively or anything like that as well. And it was a very back and forth affair without him having to take scoots. So yeah, a slow second part of that second half, and you'll be a bit annoyed if you did buy this week, and I was very close to as well, wanting him, and we'll see if he does make Origin or not next week. But just remember, guys, very wet fields for both of these games after how much rain has been over the last collection of weeks there. So that's Karaz. Burton was a great try. I just think just okay across the board. 58 at his price was awesome. 56 at his price, sorry. But did need that line break and try to get him over the line into the 40s and into the 50s in the back end of that game. Kikau I thought was fairly impressive again with that try. He just seems to be involved in some type of attack and continuing to get solid scores there. You had Watson. I thought was solid. I didn't mention him just because he's not owned very highly anymore, and he will go to Origin. I think he was great. 56 tackles. Maxi King 59. Yes, they keep changing what it looks like in the in the app, in the NRL app, which is where I was looking. But King 59 in 55 minutes, very very impressive. Just the couple of errors there, with an error and a penalty, but a great lot of minutes for him. A terrific score at 59. You'll be very very happy with that if you have bought. Exactly what you were hoping for with King and priced above and scoring above where he's priced at. And then Reed back to a 48. Let's see if that's correct in this one. 45. Gosh, they're way different on the NRL app. There you go. Does that mean all my plays are way different? Where's Nafahu White? 33. Yep, same. So yeah, that's the doggies. Just a really good effort on their part. And now the Roosters, they're going to lose a bunch of players next week, and maybe White also looks like he copped it, of course, in the last run. I'm like, yeah, go for a run, son. Get another point for me because you're not on many. And then just copped a little, from the side, the standard little sweeping underneath, probably an MCL issue is what physio thinks. So a very tough loss for them. They're likely to lose Collins, White, Crichton, Spencer Leniu. So a lot of forwards going down, but they may have to just rely on their outside backs. And Marky Mark, what the beep? Bloke is incredible. Absolutely insane in this game. The things that he can do on a footy field is just incredible. And that try, tiptoeing, the double hop, all the things that just show smarts, athletic, what a footy player. And he's going to grow into something special in this league. So shout out to Mark on that one with a really, really, really nice score as well. In that one there with a 62, with 2 tries, 2 line breaks there, 8 tackle breaks. Did have 6 errors, so a few of those were in the air, and then a couple running out of his own end. So just like you can do freakish stuff like that, but he needs to take control in a few other areas there. For Teddy, it was a pretty tough first half for him. I think he ended at 12, and then really improved in the second half, which we know he can do. Picked up 30 in that second one. Hoping if you do own, he doesn't make Origin, and if he doesn't, then a lot of us can buy him as well. Now Toya, I think he's the last few weeks clearly getting more ball, 111 run meters, good defensively, 21 for 0, 4 tackle breaks, an offload, turnover tackle, 44. You take that, I think you loop him in definitely. The way that this week is going, you see there all the good players are getting in the 40s. Sadly, there. Siwa Wong. I think for him at the moment, it's just a mid 40s is somewhere where you are paying for him. So the way that things are going, injuries and the like, you just deal with it, you cop it. But he hasn't shown any of that upside that we saw, 5-6 weeks ago now. Definitely not running with as much pace and as much vigor. So that's the frustrating thing there. I wanted to clearly say that Sandon Smith has taken over the more dominant role in this halves here, which we kind of knew already. We saw that a few weeks ago when he dominated. He got goal kicks as well. He's still kicking for 235. Yes, Savala's kicking more, but that's kind of what he's offering right now is the kicking. And unfortunately, Savala The missed tackles came into the game in this one. No other negatives, but yeah, that was tough enough. We had the one forced dropout for Savala, so 27 for him. Still will make cash this week, but he becomes a guy that over the next few weeks we start to move on. And again, is he someone that you do potentially move on next week and make that upgrade? Or do you try and trust that he could score well next week there? Down to Fahu White, unfortunately, I think we finished with him, a 33 and 44, so it's his lowest minutes of the year. I'm very much hoping personally that it means that they're setting him up for a 65-minute effort or something like that next week, heading into a very important week. But again, when I say that, he might be injured. So that could just destroy all those plans altogether, and I'll go and cry myself to sleep. But no, I just want to also touch on scoring fantasy-wise. Like, you can tell year to year if you're having that sort of little bit of luck in year. I actually think I've made better decisions this year. But last year, I think I made some mistakes, but was still able to, the next moves that I made got a fair bit of luck. This year, I feel like I'm making generally correct moves, things that just aren't going as perfect, and you'll notice that yourself too. So if you feel like that's happening, I think it's pretty noticeable. That's me at the moment. Like I've got a pretty good rank at 2,000, but you just feel like it's hard to make 2 weeks in a row of gains and then have things go right. Generally. So if you are feeling that way, that's okay. It's could just be one of those years as long as you're making the correct decisions or you feel like you are. And personally for me, it does feel like a year of just supporting the people, helping you guys out, getting the private crew to first overall. Because otherwise it becomes super frustrating. So I think last night I had like 8 players and they're almost all bad. It does hurt, but I think being able to brush it off that little bit quicker is helpful and get out and help the community. So that's my theory, that's my plan, and that's the video. Let me know what you thought around me having the notes there and you being able to switch back, click through and see what I've said written down and get a deeper explanation on certain players. I think next week though, what I will do is instead of doing it on the NRL app, I'll just have I'll just go like I go down the line here with scorers. I think I might do it that way just to make it easier for those clicking through. But that's our video, guys. I'm off to do some coaching and then some golf today, which will be good fun. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.